At the UCL Plastic Waste Innovation Hub, we take a systems approach to complex problems of plastic waste, including plastics contained in disposable nappies. These nappies are made using carbon-intensive chemical processes involving petroleum, and after use, over 99% of this waste is incinerated, ends up in landfill, or ends up in the environment. And this really should be of concern to the Circular Economy Task Force. Single-use nappies pose a significant challenge to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. In addition, under the UK Emissions Trading Scheme from 2028, every plastic-based nappy which is incinerated will incur additional costs for waste processors and local authorities, and this could cost them up to £747 million in the year the scheme is launched.
One way to reduce the amount of disposable nappy waste is to address the rising average toilet training age of children. In the 1970s and 80s, 83% of children were out of nappies by 18 months. However, over the last 2 generations, the average age that children are being toilet trained in the UK has risen from 12 to 18 months to an average of 3 or in 4 years today. In 2024, 1 in 4 children aged 48 months started school while still wearing nappies. As well as the grave environmental concerns, later toilet training increases the risk of developing wetting and soiling issues and prevents the early identification of bladder and bowel problems. So, reducing disposable nappy use is crucial, not just for tackling this important plastic waste stream, but with 1.5 million children in the UK currently living with a bladder problem, a figure higher than the incidence of asthma in children. Delayed toilet training also has significant impacts on health, on educational and social welfare, and on the economy.
To understand realistic routes for reducing the waste stream from disposable nappies, the Big Toilet Project worked with citizens, researchers, healthcare and early years professionals, charities, local councils and other stakeholders in the UK and globally to identify key behavioral, environmental and economic issues impacting toilet learning, enhance understanding, support and resources for parents navigating the process, and produce practical recommendations to citizens, stakeholders, industry and policymakers towards the reduction of plastic waste from single-use nappies.
Our key messages are that disposable nappies are a major contributor to municipal solid waste in the UK, and that poses a significant challenge to the UK's legally binding environmental targets. And yet, disposable nappy use has increased over time. Our research shows that over half of all parents are unsure of the appropriate timing for toilet training. That's because most parents and childcare settings are guided by an NHS recommended timeframe for toileting, which is both unclear and unsupported by current evidence. There would be no additional cost to nursery settings to update their training if the NHS recommended earlier toilet training. But this could cut nappy waste by up to 30%, along with disposal costs and savings to parents of about £400 per child per year. And while the UK Emissions Trading Scheme could add 30% to local authority waste disposal costs, without upstream interventions from the Department of Health and Social Care, the Department for Education and Ofsted, they have limited levers to cut their nappy waste.
We recommend 1. The creation of clear NHS guidance aligned with current evidence supporting the benefits of earlier toilet training so that children should be out of nappies between 18 and 30 months. And 2nd, that this should form consistent messaging from Department of Health and Social Care, Department for Education and Ofsted, and in the support provided in early years education settings and by health visitors and healthcare professionals.